It's still surreal. 1 minute, I'm making coffee, the next, my husband of 7 years drops a bomb, divorce. We'd been together for a decade, a comfortable, predictable life. I was happy, or at least, content. Mark, 38, worked as an IT guy, a steady, reliable life. Then, I joined this new gym downtown. I was feeling sluggish, wanting to feel better, healthier. It started innocently enough, a diet, personal training. I felt fantastic losing weight, and my body changed. I bought myself some new clothes. It was exciting, empowering, a feeling I hadn't felt in years. But something shifted inside me too. I began to feel restless, dissatisfied. The life I had with Mark started to feel small, limiting. I started thinking about what I'd missed out on, settling down so young. Maybe I made the mistake of getting married so young, before I had the chance to see what the world had to offer. I caught myself making little comments to Mark, little barbs about his appearance or his job, about how things were always the same. I wasn't proud of it, but I couldn't seem to stop. I started to feel like I wanted more. One morning, after my green smoothie, I told him. The words just tumbled out, I'm not happy. I need something else. He just stood there, looking stunned. I told him I wanted a divorce. When he asked why, I just said that I felt like I'd outgrown our life together. I have more to offer the world. Now. I felt like I was finally becoming the person I was meant to be, and he just didn't fit in anymore. It sounds awful now, looking back, but that's how I felt. The following week was a blur of paperwork and lawyers. His lawyer sent me the divorce papers, they wanted a quick settlement, and it was more than a wake-up call. I had to hire my own lawyer. It turned out Mark was fighting back. In a no-fault state, I could walk away, but the settlement I wanted wasn't going to be easy to get. I wanted the house, some of his savings, and some support. He said he wasn't going to give it to me. I felt like I deserved it. My lawyer warned me, this could be a fight. She's clearly trying to leverage new confidence to squeeze you dry. The words echoed in my mind, and a cold resolve settled within me. That's when I knew I couldn't simply surrender. I would fight back, but with a quiet strength, a methodical approach. If she truly believed her newfound allure gave her the right to cast me aside and profit from it, she was about to learn a painful lesson. I wouldn't be broken so easily. The day of mediation arrived, and it felt like walking into a carefully orchestrated performance. She swept in, a vision in a sleek dress, her freshly styled hair cascading as she tossed her head. Her words, carefully chosen barbs about how I'd let myself go, stung with a familiar cruelty. She implied I'd never strived for self-improvement, as if that justified her decision to leave. I held my ground, maintaining composure. I answered questions with polite precision, refusing to concede to her inflated demands. The mediation ended abruptly, a stalemate hanging in the air. She stormed out, a muttered threat about winning over the judge lingering behind her. In the privacy of my own space, I began the painstaking process of gathering evidence. Bank statements became weapons, proofs of her financial independence forming a shield. Text messages, where she brazenly boasted to a friend about upgrading her life, were ammunition. If she wanted a fight, I'd meet her head-on, but I wouldn't be her victim. Weeks passed, and we found ourselves at a pre-trial settlement conference. Her lawyer, with a practiced air of condescension, argued that she deserved extra support, claiming I'd somehow held her back while she invested time in transforming herself. The audacity! She had a stable job, no children demanding her attention, and she had actively chosen to dedicate time to the gym. I had never once discouraged her. I pointed this out to my lawyer, who gave a confident smirk. Don't worry, he assured me, a judge will see right through that. Meanwhile, her behavior became increasingly brazen. She would stop by the house, still legally shared property until the settlement, ostensibly to collect belongings, but then leave behind snide little notes. Suggestions that I should start working out, or perhaps look for a better paying job. I refused to engage, choosing instead to document each instance. My lawyer explained that demonstrating her harassment and belittling conduct could sway the judge's perception of her credibility. As the trial loomed closer, I learned that she'd been seeing a coworker from her gym, a smooth-talking charmer who, it seemed, was completely captivated by her new image. She made no attempt to conceal it, parading him around local restaurants where mutual acquaintances were sure to see. The news inevitably reached me. But instead of triggering jealousy, it brought a strange sense of resolution. Let her bask in the spotlight. My energy was focused on strategy. My lawyer filed a motion to ensure a fair division of assets, based on our respective contributions and current incomes. We emphasized the fact that she now earned almost the same as I did, and in some months even exceeded my income, thanks to her lucrative side consulting work. The speed with which she flipped the script still stings. One minute I was her rock, the next, I was supposedly holding her back, branded as lazy and unambitious. I had the old messages, the emails where she practically canonized my stability. It seemed so calculated, and I knew those contradictions would be crucial in court. Then came the low blows. I got that unnerving call from the credit card company about suspicious activity. Our old joint credit line, the one we barely touched, still lingered in both our names, a careless oversight on my part. She'd apparently decided a luxury spa weekend was a necessity, charging it to that card. I disputed it immediately and alerted my lawyer. It felt like a deliberate act, a blatant attempt to exploit our shared finances even as we were disentangling everything. In our state, the judge focuses on assets acquired during the marriage. Our wealth was modest, a small house and some savings. She immediately demanded the house, as if entitled to it, claiming she deserved a nice place. I offered her a buyout, a fair split. If she wanted the house, she could pay me half the equity. She scoffed, suggesting I simply hand it over because she needed to maintain her new lifestyle. The audacity was staggering. As the court date loomed, my lawyer and I solidified our strategy, exposed the inconsistencies in her narrative, demonstrate her clear ability to support herself, and present evidence of her attempts at financial manipulation. We gathered character witnesses, friends who had witnessed my unwavering support during her journey of reinvention. They were ready to confirm, under oath, that I never stifled her growth in any way. It was crucial to dismantle her false narrative that I was holding her back. A cold, steely resolve settled within me. I had once loved her with all my heart, but the woman standing before me now felt like a complete stranger. If she truly believed that a new look and newfound confidence gave her the right to crush me, she was in for a rude awakening. The legal system wouldn't reward her delusional fantasies. The day arrived. We sat on opposite sides of the courtroom, a vast chasm of bitterness separating us. Our lawyers huddled, whispering strategic plans. She was dressed in a sharp, tailored suit, her chin held high, radiating an air of supreme confidence, as if she could charm the entire room into believing her story. I chose something simple and understated, focusing on the facts, not theatrical displays. The judge entered, and we rose. Her lawyer launched into a heart-wrenching narrative, painting a picture of her personal evolution, claiming our marriage had become suffocating, and that she now required compensation to move forward. He portrayed me as complacent and unwilling to adapt to her new standards. My lawyer patiently waited for his moment, then began systematically dismantling their flimsy arguments, piece by piece. He laid out the financial documents. My income statements, yes, but then the credit card bills, our credit card, the one I treated like a free-for-all. And then, worst of all, copies of my notes. My stomach dropped as I saw them, each piece of evidence landing like a punch. The judge looked, disgusted, honestly, especially at the credit card charges. Then his lawyer started on the fitness and career claims. Did he ever stop you from going to the gym? I had to admit, no. Did he ever prevent you from advancing your career? Again, a reluctant, no. Each answer felt like a betrayal of the story I was trying to tell, this carefully constructed narrative of victimhood. But then, the text messages. Those were the killer. Messages to Sarah, I'm finally hot enough to get a real catch. Going to dump him and upgrade. Sarah's reply, equally damning, careful, he might not go down without a fight. The courtroom was silent as the judge read them, and I wanted to disappear. I felt the heat rising in my face, the mask I'd carefully constructed cracking under the pressure. Under cross-examination, I panicked. I tried to backtrack, to explain those words away. I was venting. I insisted. I didn't mean it literally. But the judge didn't seem convinced. His lawyer hammered the point home, those messages revealed my mindset, that I saw our marriage as a transaction, a stepping stone to something better, not a real partnership that was ending mutually. The asset division was even worse. My demands suddenly sounded so greedy, so entitled. The judge challenged me directly. If I was so independent, so successful, why did I need so much? I stammered, something about maintaining my lifestyle, about what I was used to. But the judge cut me off, reminding me that divorce in our state was about fairness, not about funding someone else's luxury at the expense of their ex-spouse. Then the real bomb dropped. The other man, the one I'd been seeing, had submitted a sworn statement. Through his lawyer. Apparently, they had discussed marriage. The statement suggested he'd assumed I would be getting a huge payout from the divorce, enough to essentially fund their future. Hearing it read aloud in court, laid bare like that, was mortifying. The lawyer presented it like a smoking gun, proof that I'd planned to profit from the divorce and move on quickly to another relationship. The judge looked utterly appalled. I tried to recover, to say it was a misunderstanding, that I hadn't intended to remarry so soon, but it was too late. The damage was done. My credibility was completely gone. The judge's ruling was harsher than I expected. The house was to be split equally. No spousal support, given our similar incomes. And I owed him money, reimbursement for all those credit card charges I'd disputed. She even scolded me, saying my attempts to paint myself as a victim had backfired, all thanks to my own words and actions. Outside the courtroom, I approached him, tears streaming down my face. I never thought it would end like this, I whispered. The arrogance, the confidence, the carefully constructed image, all of it had vanished, replaced by a raw, stinging regret. It was a mistake, I realized. I'd gotten swept up in the illusion of this new life, this facade. Could we still talk? The question hung in the air, desperate. Was there still a chance to avoid this whole thing? I kept my voice even. You filed for divorce, remember? You were so sure you deserved better. But the judge was pretty clear, you won't be walking away with anything extra. I let the words settle, giving them weight. I was loyal. I always respected you. And you threw that away. She reached for my hand, a pathetic gesture, really. I stepped back, creating distance. It's done, I said, the finality clear. I'll drop the divorce. We can fix this, she pleaded, her voice cracking. I just shook my head, a small, almost pitying movement. You showed me who you really were when you thought you had the upper hand. Her face crumbled then, the realization dawning that her little power play had backfired spectacularly. All the pretty words, the apologies she was probably formulating in her head, wouldn't erase the damage. I simply nodded towards my lawyer, standing nearby. It was time to finish this, to finalize the papers and walk away. The next few weeks were a blur of legalities. She packed up her things, removing them from the house, a house I decided to sell regardless. Half the equity would be mine, enough to start over somewhere new, somewhere clean. The relationship ended with her getting nothing, just the sour taste of her own greed. I didn't celebrate, didn't boast. I simply moved on, relieved to be free from the manipulative games. Some mutual friends commented that she was filled with regret. Apparently, she'd complained about making a hasty decision, about trying to take too much. But none of it mattered, did it? The court order stood. The desire to reconcile was gone. She'd have to live with the consequences of her arrogance. I heard, through the grapevine, that the new boyfriend vanished as soon as he realized there wouldn't be a financial windfall. She was alone now, stripped of the perks she thought she was entitled to. In the end, I learned that not all transformations are positive ones. Some just leave a bitter residue behind. It's ironic, isn't it? She sculpted her body, chasing some ideal, but somehow lost sight of what truly mattered. I realized I was just a means to an end for her, someone easily discarded. But I wouldn't let her. I planted my feet firmly and refused to be used. I walked away with my self-respect, which, in the end, is worth more than anything she could have offered. I suspect she imagined regret would only surface if her grand plan backfired financially. Well, the universe has a funny way of balancing things. Choices have ramifications. Now, with my portion of the company's assets, I'm envisioning a different future. Something quieter. Maybe a smaller place, a little closer to the city's pulse. I still find satisfaction in my work, and I still cherish my simple pleasures, reading, gardening, things like that. There's no bitterness lingering, just a hard-earned understanding. She aimed to elevate herself by diminishing me, and instead, she stumbled into a situation I imagine is filled with disappointment. It's a lesson, I suppose, for both of us.